Guys, we are here for a True North Studios interview. Today we have deso1ation, the leader, the IGL, the main offer of Storm Surge deso1ation. How are we doing today?
I'm good, Evan. Thank you for having me today. I'm really excited to see what it brings. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to see what we got cooking in terms of content.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty easy going. I got a couple, let's say meteor interview questions, and then we have some rapid fire questions at the end that we'll run through once we get through the main bulk of the interview.
You
First
got it.
question I have for you today: how did you get into Counter Strike originally? What was the start of your journey?
So my journey started in 2017. Basically, one of my friends, he played a lot of CS, and I had just built my own computer at that time. And he's like, "Hey, play this game with me. You're gonna like it." And I started playing it. Played it kind of on and off casually. Then took a break for about a year, came back in 2019, played again casually, and then I dove in when the pandemic hit um, for like full competitive CS. So a friend got me into this game, and I've been playing it ever since, basically.
How did you know? Like, what was the moment that you knew that you could take it maybe an extra level above besides just someone playing casually?
Um, I think one of the things that kind of got me a little bit more interested in it was I watched a lot of competitive CS, and when I would play like casually, my friends would always say like, "Hey, you should consider IGLing. Like, you have a mind for the game. You have a little like you have good reads. You should just try it out and see how it feels." And basically from then on out, I started calling like really loose like puggy strats. Okay, guys, let's go A. We're gonna split like this because they're playing super aggressive here. Um, and then as I kind of started obsessing over IGLing, I started watching competitive CS like probably the equivalent of a full-time job when it was running. Like I think for a period between like 2020 to 2022, I watched like all all of the events like from start to finish, like group stages, playoffs matches. I had like multiple streams open. Like I had two monitors. On the other monitor, I had two streams. On my main monitor, I had two streams, and then I would just listen to whatever was going on. And then as I absorbed all that info, like I started to get a lot better at my calling, and I that's kind of what brought me into competitive CS. I was like, why not give this a try and see how it works? And we've been here ever since.
No, for sure. And that does kind of lead into my next question. How would you describe your personal playstyle and what qualities do you think make you suited for an IGL?
So my play style is a little bit slower and measured, and so to be honest, I think it's kind of leading to a personal clash into what I need to achieve as an IGL versus as a player. So because I op IGL, I can't. I have the most important gun in the game, and I tend to lean a little bit more passive in how I like to approach my style. So I've been trying to kind of integrate a little bit more aggression, but overall, my kind of like mantra for CT side and T side is like, I'm gonna lock down one area of the map so that my riflers can focus on another, and then that way, if they come to me, I can just play my fallback angles. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But I'm still trying to figure that out a little bit more. And then in terms of like qualities of being an IGL, I am a fairly type A personality. So I am a registered nurse. I do a lot of like I work in critical care. I'm very focused, detail oriented. So that, along with my clear obsession of this game, I like to have like a really I have a very big overview in my mind at all times about what I'm seeing. And I think it lends me a little bit better to say like, okay, like I'm noticing all these patterns. Here's how we're gonna go around it. And then I think in terms of leading, like I am able to balance the soft and the hard, in terms of like, okay, like this type of feedback needs to be a little bit more gentler. Whereas, like, if I need to be more authoritative, I will. And I think that comes from my like professional career as well. So um, I don't know. I think I never had anyone really ask me how my personality suits well, but I haven't really had anyone complain about my style of calling or my way of approaching the game. So I mean, we'll find out. It's a good way of self-reflection.
Oh, for sure. And I'm just kind of thinking like the way you're talking about it. Can you think of a moment or like a certain round or a certain event that happened in a game that made you like really proud to be an IGL, or something that really sticks out to you as like one of those like core like memories or moments?
Honestly, I'm having a really hard time just kind of picking one, but I think just in terms of like what makes me proud to be like an IGL and knowing that I'm doing a good job is like sometimes when we are a little bit more disorganized in various iterations of my roster, it's like, guys, okay, just shut up, listen to me for these next 3 rounds, and we're going to win out the rest of the game based on these 3 calls. And I'll call some absolute fire, and we just go in, break their econ, win the rounds. And then at that point, it just becomes like manipulating their rotations based on our calls, etc. So I haven't done that over, like, I haven't been able to feel that over the last 2 matches. Those of you that have been following Storm Surge know it's been a little bit of a struggle bus over the last 2 games. Um, but I'm hoping to get kind of everyone on the same page so I can go back to that real quick.
For sure. And speaking of the team, I just kind of wanted to get a sense of how this team started. You're obviously one of the main people in sort of like a leadership role on this team. So, how did you guys form the team? How did you meet all the other players?
So basically, Cody or Cubed and I met probably a year and a half at this point ago when someone else had formed the roster, brought me in, and brought him in as a set piece. And basically, him and I are the 2 longest standing players on the team, again, about a year and a half. Then, shortly afterwards, we I transitioned into Op IGL probably 3 to 4 seasons ago at this point, and it's one of those things where it's not what I typically play. So I'm typically an anchor type of player, and so it suits my play style a little bit more. But we were having such a hard time finding an opera that was exactly what we were looking for that I actually transitioned myself into the role. And what ended up happening was we brought on Punisher, or Dane, and he filled the small side anchor roles. And you guys have seen him play. He's really crispy mechanically, like probably one of the hardest working people that we have on the team. So I'm super happy to have found him. Then next in chronological order was Doyle. We had a teammate who wasn't sure if they were going to leave or not, and then kind of last minute decided that they were. So we brought on Doyle, and instantly, like, his mechanics when he is on one, he is like so good. And I think we have some, like, we still have some development to do for both Punisher and Doyle. But I think when we get them to where we need them to be, they're going to be like really good assets for this team. And then the last person, Konzi, we brought him on this season, and actually he approached us saying like, hey, like, I know you're looking for this role. I wish that I had joined you guys earlier because I really appreciate how you guys work. What do you guys think? And we said, yeah, we'll give you a couple tryouts. And we ended up comparing him to some of the other people we had going on, and he was the clear winner. So that's how we brought him on. So ultimately, the team is formed based on the needs of everyone. So we just kind of like, we started with Cody and I. We had a gap in having an opera, so I filled that slot. We picked up 3 crazy riflers around us to try to kind of mitigate the time that I will need to develop by having really good riflers to kind of bridge that gap.
What do you think is the biggest strength of the team?
I think the biggest strength of the team is kind of its resilience. And I've kind of been shown this like over and over and over again, where like when we truly believe in ourselves, like basically we can't be stopped because our communication and our team play is just so good, that it's really hard for teams to kind of counter us because we are so fast in our like reactions and our play style. Recently, it's been a little bit on the slow side, so we've been trying to figure out where the disconnect is. But ultimately, I feel like we can get back to it, and we did it last season where we went from 1-3 into playoffs. So I think from here we can also come from 1-2 and into playoffs as well.
Changing gears a little bit, still about the team. Very exciting opportunity for you guys. You guys will be appearing at your first LAN in April, Frag 20. What does this opportunity mean for you guys and the rest of the team?
Honestly, I'm personally really excited because I've only played local lands, and so this opportunity for us is kind of like my scheme of Storm Surge is like to get players known in the scene, and if we can all show up to this land performing really well, then I think we can finally get noticed a little bit. It's a 64 team land. There's of course 8 teams that are going to be invited. My goal is by April we should have everything ironed out that we make a top 16 finish. Um, and I think that'll put us on the map for a lot of teams and a lot of attention across NA.
For sure. And speaking of NA, like you talked about how important it is for the scene, and I think a lot of people when they think about North American CS, it's so much smaller than what it is in say like EU or Asia or South America. What are your thoughts on that? Like, what do you think NACS needs to do to sort of get onto that level?
They need to put their egos aside, to be completely honest, and I think people need to stop putting themselves above the rest of their team. And the quicker people realize that feedback is not insulting or derogatory towards you as a player, and that feedback is trying to make you a better person and a better player, the scene is going to grow and mature a little bit. But I think right now a lot of this scene is like, you see it all the time, like these advanced teams in North America, like they're just cycling the same 12 to like sorry probably like 20-30 players are LFT every single season, and you're wondering like, well, are you just giving up, or are you, as soon as that honeymoon phase is over, like do you just leave to join the next project? So I think patience and willingness to grow as a team is really important within a roster, and I think NA really lacks that because there's always so many rapid roster changes made. There's so many egos that are like, I'm the best, and if you don't listen to me, like whatever. And so here at Storm Surge, we're actually trying to do the opposite, where like everyone on this team, like we don't really have egos, like we're all willing to work together. We have set structures in place, and now we just kind of need to make all of those puzzle pieces fit together in order to make it work. So ultimately, I think what we're doing is not a short-term project. This is probably going to be like a multi-season project for sure.
That's actually a perfect segue into my final question is sort of about the team again. What is the future of Storm Surge, and what steps do you need to take to get to that future that you want for this team?
So the future of the team depends on how well we're able to integrate the system and how well we end up playing together, because ultimately I think we can probably like maintain this current 5 for the next 6 months to a year, and we'd be able to learn and develop really well together. So my future and my vision for like this organization is that we're able to get enough traction where we have enough eyeballs, we have like sponsors, we have income coming in through like affiliates and merchandise coming soon, where we like Las Vegas is a really big expense for everyone, but if we can get the organization to the point where like we can cover expenses to at least travel to these places, or we get picked up by another org because we have VRS ranking at this point. Like, my goal for Storm Surge is really to just be self-sustaining and to compete in as many tournaments as possible to help grow the scene as much as possible.